right, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's going well. What the hell is happening with the back of my hair? All right. The hair that I have left is wanting to stand up. All right. Let's jump into things. I wasn't able to do anything yesterday, which is a bit of a pity. I did want to get something done. Oh, I better check my voice is working. Yep, test. All right, cool. So, yeah, the idea is I want to fetch the permissions before everything else. It'll be one of those things where I have to block everything. And I don't think I can do it at the app level. I think I actually have to do this at a lower level. Which is annoying, but not too much of a problem. Because we can move all of this into a lower level and be fine with that. We can still have that here. We can still... that will move down lower. The permission store... that will move down lower and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to test out today. So we've got the app pages. If we open up components, I'm just wondering how this will work. This would actually be technically a structure. Actually, it's technically still part of the app. It's just that we're moving everything down slightly. All right. Let's open up pages, let's open up app. No, I want to keep that simple. I'm going to have it in here. So let's open up structure. Let's right hand click, let's open up a new view component. Let's just call it app structure, because it is. We're just gonna have a basic composite that, and what I'm going to do, I'm just putting the app on the right side. I know you guys can't see it, but I'm just copying and pasting from it. I'm gonna get rid of everything else, so we're going to close all tabs. We're gonna have it just like that at the moment. One thing which I know straight off the bat is we're gonna use the stores, so I'm just gonna write stores. In here, we're just going to paste that. We're going to move that one up there. It's done like that. Another thing which I know will get done is we need on mount. So I'm going to import. This will be on mount from view, and then it'll be on mounted async. We will then go await permission store dot fetch permission data. Is it on mount or on mounted? Let's find out. On mounted. Yeah. All right, easy done. So we've done that. I can get rid of that from the other one. That store can be used still on that side of things because it doesn't matter at the app level if I hit that store. So yeah, I'm happy with that. The main class. The main class 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. I need to figure out shortcuts to jump from tab to tab here. The main class. Oh, all right. We actually need the nav store in here too. In which case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to strip most of the stuff out of here then. We're just going to paste that one in. That one will be import the use nav store. Like so, easy done. And we've just hit our first ad break on Twitch, so yay! For those on YouTube wondering what's actually happening, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch to stop the pre-rolled ads because the pre-rolled ads suck. You tend to see me do something like this. I've just realized work just All right, cool. No, that's not a problem. Sorry, work just popped up, but is not a problem. Where was it going? Oh yeah, we had pre-rolled ads. They suck. So we run ads to stop them. So yeah, I tend to do this so no one misses out on any content. There's about 35 seconds left with the ads left, and then we'll jump right back into it. So yeah, hopefully what I'm doing right now solves my problem. I like the sound of the mechanical keyboard. Cheers, thank you. Yeah, it's just a keytron. I do. Depends if Nightbot is gonna wake up. It's just a Keychron K2 with blue switches. So, about 5 seconds left. Yeah, Nightbot's not waking up over on YouTube. Which is a bit of a pity. Alright, welcome back everyone. Let's jump back into it. So, I'm moving over all the stores over into here. Which means I can then... It's best to move this over... That can be done straight away. That's perfectly fine. And then we just await all the permissions. Yeah, that's perfectly fine, which means we don't need the on-mounted on the app side of things. And then the next thing we kind of want is, I'm just going to cut all of this out. We've just got the template down here. I'm just going to, whoops, use the wrong keys to paste it in. Oh, is my linter not working now? Oh, great. All right, so we've got all of those. I'll need to import them. Import it up there. That's pretty easy. As for... Yeah, I'll need the styles too. And that should be it. We've mainly, I can move this back now. We've mainly gutted this. Heavily gutted this. However, what I want to do is I want to now import the app structure from there, and doing it like that should work perfectly fine. I just need to go import app structure from this would actually be at and then components and then structure and then app structure like that. All right, but we also want to import suspense from Vue. Just give me 2 seconds. Loading, ... All right, I don't know if that's... I haven't really used suspense that often. So let's find out if this will work. Probably not, but hey, we'll hopefully get it to work. So in here, we've got this waiting for the fetch permissions for that to resolve. Once it's resolved, then we want the loading to disappear and the whole thing to sort of fall into place. But what I want to do is I want to go into the back end and artificially create a breakpoint. Just to make it seem like the system's moving slowly. So, what I want to do, I want views, API. This is part of the user permissions. We just need to put a breakpoint right there. I also need to actually start the server. There we go. Minimize that. We're just going to go over here. We're just going to go localhost. And that didn't work how I wanted it to. And I don't know why it got it 3 times. I'm just going to reload. Oh. got hello world. Yeah, no, that's yeah, all right. Yeah, damn, it's not all right. I need to figure this one out. So view suspense. So it is an experimental feature. I do know it can change at any point in time, and I'm hoping it doesn't just suddenly change because this is gonna encompass everything. You recently came across a vibe-coded tech startup. His project had a bunch of tech debts. By the time he fixed all of it, his business was almost bankrupt. He clawed his way out of that mess. Yeah. I like to write code. I also like to say that AI should be used as a tool, not a crutch. So it can actually, there are some usefulness to it, especially for doing boilerplate sort of stuff, but you shouldn't rely on it to do everything. You yourself should actually figure out how to solve these sort of problems and so forth like that. Alright, so as a component for orchestrating async dependencies in component tree, it can render loading state while waiting for multiple nested async dependencies down the tree to resolve, which is what we've got. So we'll have a suspense. We have a dashboard. Let's say we've got a friend status component with async setup to explain the problem. Alright, cool. So with the setup, we've got export async setup. Oh. If using script setup, the present off top level await. Automatically makes that component async dependent. Alright, I might be putting the weight in the wrong spot, so let's jump into things. Now, that didn't like that. It has no... Alright. Now, they're using a weight fetch there. I don't remember. X. Yeah, it's a Razer X. Kind of like this one, but not pink. Get back to the black one. There, yeah, that's the one I've got. If that is, yeah, that's in the screen. All right. All right. So. I mean, I can put this here. Let's actually run a test. They're using fetch there, so I've still got to use Axios. Oh. Well, fair enough. Alright. Yeah, it's just unmounted. Async components are suspendable by default. This means that if it has a suspend in the parent chain, it will treat as a in this case. Alright, cool. Can opt out of suspense, we won't be opting out, so we'll have a dash, let's say suspense template fallback. Alright, cool. going to probably make sure I've got that. Oh, I've just closed the thing I wanted to open. I'm going to double check I've got this set up correctly, because it's highly likely I just don't have things set up correctly. I'm going to get rid of this fallback. So they've got a suspense, then they've got a dashboard, we've got an app structure, which is fine, and then we've got a fallback like this. And then if I go over here and hit refresh, yeah, it's still hitting the breakpoint, but not, why is it hitting it 3 times? Okay, that's a bit weird. Well, fair enough. Yeah, I don't mind Django. I've been using it for a number of years now. Well, 9 now, so yeah. But also, at the same time, I use other frameworks too. Like, I like Laravel, I like .NET. So, yeah. My 9 to 5 is a lot of Embracer on .NET. I'm also giving Wagtail a shot too. So, yeah. Alright, if I go user permissions, yeah, I'm only hitting it once. Yeah, that's a bit weird, but oh well. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go view. I'm just going to do this. Register as a callback. I'll do that so you guys can see what I'm doing. Types, function, onMounted, callback, void, target, and stuff like that. Details. All of its asynchronous child components have been mounted. Does not include async components inside suspense trees. All right. Yep, fair enough. Its own DOM tree has been created and inserted into the parent controller. No, it only guarantees. All right, I might have to. I have to do it somewhere else. Register a hook to be called right before the component is to be mounted. When the hook is called, the component has finished setting up its reactive state, but no DOM nodes have been called yet. It's about to execute the DOM render effect for the first time. We might need to do on before mounted. Whoa, all right. Is it on before mount or on before mounted? Ah, that's why I've got my, there we go. Yeah, on before mount. 9 years ago, I was a grade 2, so I was programming and nothing. Fair enough. And 9 years ago, I was still working at the university, so. Now, I just need to call this in. This is on before mount. I can then just pull it out from here. That's perfectly fine. I just want to see if what actually happens. I'm just making. I'm just seeing if that does it. It doesn't. Yeah, that's fine. So this has to wait for the fetch permission data. If I go into here, this is async. Fetch that. Oh, I should definitely do an await here. Yeah, all right. Let's hit refresh. No, it's still. Yeah, it's still not waiting. Yeah, all right. gonna have to do some proper Googling in a minute. With the suspense, yeah, they had an example up here where it was fetching data. Now, what I don't want to do is fetch this data in some component and then feed it into the store. And the reason being is I kind of want it self-contained in that store, if at all possible. Worst case scenario, I can do this, but I'm hoping that I can get it done in, Pinia. This way, Pinia. Ajax, not Ajax, async. All right, actions are equivalent methods and component they can be defined with. Actions async that. Try this. Dot await. Yep. That should be happening. Sorry about the big yawn. If we go back into the permissions.ts, we do now have the await. So we should be slowly doing this, and then I think do we need to pass this down all the way? I'm not sure. No, we shouldn't need it to do it there. Because yeah, we should be awaiting. What I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go time sleep. I'm going to put that as 1 second. I'm just cheating because the breakpoint's going to annoy the hell out of me. Every single time I do a change in view, it's refreshing this DOM, and it's causing it to be hit there. So we can see it takes them 1 second to get the data, and I'm like, sweet. But we don't see a suspense or anything like that. And I'm just also wondering, do I need to do something at the route level? Yeah, might be one of those things where I have to do something at the route level. All right. We don't want to lazy load the route. Oh, no, wait, we already are, I think. Yeah, we already are. Oh, all right, we could. I don't need to worry about the web chunk names or anything like that. All right. We're importing everything like that. This just points out what components and so forth like that are happening. But at the same time, I don't want any of this appearing until after I have finished loading everything in. I'm going to do one weird test. We're gonna flag it as a weird test. Weird test. I'm gonna go await I'm going to create a function that essentially just replicates this sort of functionality. And I'm just going to go JavaScript sleep. 1 second. No, I want to await. Yep, that'll work. All right, we're going to await. Now that delay should be in milliseconds. Now this is terrible. We're just doing this as a test. That's all. And hey, Nocturnal, how are you going? Long time no see. How have you been? Hopefully good. And what we're going to do is we're going to await the sleep for 1,000 seconds. And then that should also, let's say we return that, and I'm like, all right, cool, var a equals that. Once again, that might be, let's say, a constant. We're gonna go async function. And that's throwing up any type, whereas we want to state that it's a number. All right, cool, easy done. We've just done some terrible code there, but what we're doing is we're testing when we hit refresh what actually happens for a second. So we do have a blank page for a second. We don't have loading up or anything like that. I just want to have a look at what the body will look like. If I hit refresh, let's actually do about 5 seconds for that. You're okay. Work has been very busy recently. Same here. Yeah, I've been very busy too. So, yeah. But getting stuff done, which is nice. So, that should do that for about 5 seconds. Now, we know this is CPU intensive. We're getting rid of this code. Now, another thing which I would like to point out is the loading wasn't appearing. So I'm just going to go hello world. I'm going to go style equals color hot pink, because you know hot pink's the color to use to make it point out. Yeah, absolutely nothing. Been fighting the fire. Yeah. Luckily for me, it's not fires, it's new projects and stuff like that, which has been great. So yeah, getting money in, which is nice. All right, so that worked with the delay and so forth like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to move that call somewhere else. And what we need to do is we just need to remove it from here, and I'm just going to paste it in there. I just want to see what will actually happen. All right. It did do that for 5 seconds. Once again, we're not getting the proper suspense though. We should be having something appear there. Latest one is a driver change that broke an API. Ooh. Yeah, I took down a production the other days. Not my fault. Yeah, it's not fun when that happens. Alright, so we're gonna do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit refresh again. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why my fallback's not. Okay, might be because I'm not using default. So I'll change that to default. We'll swing on back. Oh. All right. Oops, I've got to do that. And I might as well bump that in like that. All right. So I'm just gonna hit reload. I'm still not seeing that hello world or anything like that. The idea being is when this loads in, we'll have some fake, sort of like little outlines of NearBeach in there. So we'll have a little card and some stuff like that. Yeah. Might have to do some proper Googling. All right. Do view stop loading of components until stop loading of components until Kenya has finished action. All right. Yeah. This is probably it. Cool. So prevent displaying component until data is loaded with VueJS, which is, yeah, they're extremely new. Yep, that's perfectly fine. This is 8 years ago. Oh God, I clicked that thing. 8 years ago, trying to put small form widget that can be embedded on various sites for my clients. Each of the clients can customize the form. Yep. So we've got a basic sort of form. They're using the old options method, which is fine. We can have a look at doing stuff ourselves. So you're returning a promise as your data when the data method needs to return a plain JavaScript object. Instead, you might want to do this. Data return loaded false, create fetch. All right. Oh yeah, that's just. No, we want to do this on refresh. All right. And that's another thing is we can actually do an initial. I've got a fallback solution. I don't like the fallback solution at all. I think the fallback solution would suck, considering we're trying to use suspense and stuff like that. The idea with the suspense is we're waiting for everything to load in, and then what I'm trying to say, essentially I just want a ghost template to happen when it's waiting for data. we also did this for the mock-up too, so I might bring up the mock-up. Whilst we're still on ads, I'm just bringing this up in the background. So new design module. Yep, this window. Yep, perfect. Where are we with the ads? We're about 10 seconds left of the ads, and then we'll jump right back into it. We are going to have to backport the API changes. Oh, damn. All right. And welcome back, everyone. The update will bring that change to versions already in the wild. Say, I need to test if it will be back. Oh, damn. Does not sound like fun. Which is why when 0.32 comes out, version 1 of the API for NearBeach will occur, which will break things. But yeah, I can't support version 0 in 32. Alright, so in here, in our mockup, what we actually had... Just having a check with the router. Yeah, we didn't have anything special in the router. Yeah, nothing special in the router. But with our navbar, we did have a suspense. We also had transitions. All right, we did have a suspense. And we did set it up like that. And we had a skeleton, which is what we want to also create. So the suspense will be navbar skeleton and a card skeleton. And that's it. They're going to be very lightweight. And just to notify the user that something will load there. If we go back down to the navbar itself, you can see in here that's how we've done it. Okay. Let's do something crazy. Don't know why the hello world isn't appearing. I'm going to create a skeleton. Just going to call it structure skeleton. Div structure skeleton. This will be hello world. It's just going to be this simple at the moment. What we want to do is display flex, flex direction row. We want to align item center, justify that. We want the width to be 100% view width. We want the height to be 100% view height. Easy done. That's all we really need. And then what I need to do is the H1. What we want to do is have the font size being, let's say, 14 rem. I don't care. It's going to be large. And that's that. All right, that's as simple as we're getting that skeleton done. With the app structure, what we want to do is we want to import that right now. So import the structure skeleton. We're all happy with that. That can actually get shortened down to that. get shortened down to that. Actually, it doesn't belong on this level. Sorry, it belongs up here. Import structure skeleton. There we go. And then we'll have our structure skeleton here. We don't need to put anything in it. I'm just having a look at the nav component. So we've got suspense, we've got the main menu, and then we've got the fallback and stuff like that. So that's what we're sort of aiming for. And that's fine as a proof of concept. I'm just moving the proof of concept over to the right. Now with this one, let's hit refresh. We're still not seeing it. And yo, Wrench, how are you going? Welcome back. Which I'm now starting, you add suspense on parent component. No, that's wrong. I'm talking about the parent component. Alright, oh, sorry, because, yeah. Now the fallback for this, but the route has already been checked and stuff. This is PyCharm. Full disclosure, PyCharm has a free license for any open source projects. So I don't pay for it. So yeah. So I'm just trying to think at this moment, being like, all right, cool. If we have a look, if I refresh this, you notice that it's just div in there. And it's not pulling in the skeleton. It is. I mean, that's very, very small. That's just 3 kilobytes. It should be able to pull that in and shove it on there. All right. I'm going to move on just because I think this weird test is causing that not to render because it's taking up a lot of the CPU and all that kind of stuff. Whereas we kind of want to do the fetch data and all that kind of fun stuff first. So at the app structure level, I'm going to remove this. How likely is it there is security vulnerability in your code? Highly likely over time. Everyone makes mistakes. There's also a lot of libraries that I am using which could also put security issues into the compiled code. So yeah, I try my best not to create a security issue, but I can't say I'm perfect. All right. If we have a look at the nav menu, we've got this async stuff actually happening here. So what I would do I'm just going to copy this. We're going to modify it. At the end of all of this, we're just going to put async loading. What do you mean, please add security issues so you can hack it? I'm not purposely putting security issues in my own code. This way, insecure Linux ISO for hacking learning. There are actually things out there. There are it is when you're waiting. That's the issue. Oh, hack the box. Yeah, thank you, Nocturnal. There are Linux distros out there dedicated for being insecure for that sort of practice and so forth like that. On Twitch, Nocturnal has brought up hack the box. I've never used this before. I'm hoping that's the right link. Which you can set up sort of your own sort of environment and sort of do penetration testing and so forth like that as a learning experience. It's very nice seeing people code when there are so many AI stuff. Yeah, well, I like to code, so yeah. But yeah, I won't purposely put in any security issues. The best thing is you can actually self-host, and because you're self-hosting, you can try and attack yourself with this. If you do find a security issue, we do actually have a specific email. It's like security@nearbeach.org, which will flag us about security issues. So yeah. And usually someone sends an email to it when I'm on holidays. All right. What I want to do is I'm going to keep it naming like this. This is the promise. Menu item interface. I'm just going to go void. Can we... bool. Did it let me do a void? Yeah, it let me. All right, cool. In this sort of case, I can then get rid of all of this code in here, and then I can go. Hang on, we had a timeout. Oh. All right. I'm going to do that. Actually, no, I should go resolve. And then it should be permission store dot fetch permission data. And then if I hit done. All right, that's what I want. Perfect. We do actually have instructions on how to sort of set up your own Docker container and so forth like that. We do prefer people to use the Docker container. We are going to review the Docker container soon and sort of improve it, hopefully soon. So yeah. All right, getting back into this. This is now working how we want it. So if I move that off to there, and I hit refresh, we've got boom, like that. Easy done. I like that. If I go over into the permissions, so I was setting this up completely and utterly wrong. Hey, it happens. Happens to all of us. Let's say 5 seconds again, and we go refresh. And that's going to stay there for 5 seconds, which is annoying. But then once it's done, I can then check the user permissions if they can actually access this. So I kind of like that. Sorry, I'm just racking my brain at the moment for what I need to do next. Now, whether I still need to do that tiered system. I still need to have the app view and then the app structure here. That still needs to happen. I can edit the structure skeleton like there's no tomorrow. That's going to take us next to no time. I just need to rename this. This will be fetch permission data, or it will be setup permission data actually. That's a better name. And it's fine that it's all void and we've got to resolve. This will be for the async sort of stuff. And then over here I can get rid of, wrong thing, but I can close this down. Easy done. I can get rid of that. Okay. I can get rid of the import time. This, as you see, it's on my local. It'll load up pretty quickly. Oh, we just saw a little flash then. Yeah. And then once I get that done, what I've actually got to do is I've got to start handling whether or not a user has permission to be on these components. I don't know how to do that. We're going to have to just Google that and hope for the best. So I've got the suspense running. I'm just going to close all of these. I might copy some of the navbar code and some of the card code. But also just have blank lines in there too. So what I'm going for something like this. Now it doesn't need to be flashing like that. However, that being said, if we've got a transition that we can actually use, I'll heavily utilize that. And we don't need to have it on sorry, my brain just went boop. We don't have to have much content on there. We just need the navbar and a card, a single card, and that's it. Now, in this sort of case, what they're actually doing is they've got rounded full. I'm just going to inspect one of those. Okay, that's just the background color. Oh, that's easy. That's easy to do. And then, yeah, it's just a bit of CSS to do that very, very quickly. And then hopefully we keep it down into just a couple of kilobytes. That way it loads in really quickly for the user. So that way they actually see this instead of a white screen for however long until they get their permissions. Once they've got their permissions and the permissions are resolved, then the page will load in. And then we can start doing the routing and checking and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, socks, come here. Wait. Okay. All right, so let's go back into the code. No, I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. Socks called out your name, Nocturnal. For those on YouTube wondering what's actually happening, we actually have rewards on Twitch. Sadly, YouTube hasn't implemented them yet. It would be great if they did. One of the rewards is you get to give Socks a treat. So yeah, in your bed. And I realize I've left the treats in the kitchen. I'll be right back. In your bed. No, don't come to me. In your bed. In your bed. No, don't jump in your bed and then jump out. In your bed. Do I get another cat? Right, I am running low on treats. I need to fetch some more soon. So yeah, hopefully everyone's going well. Oh, there you go. Oh, no. In your bed. She's like, ha. Alright, we'll leave Socks on the camera for a little bit longer. Alright, so I'm going to get this the skeleton done first. Just because it should be, famous last words, pretty easy to do. So we get rid of that. We know this is going to be 100% height, 100% and all that kind of stuff. We don't need to do too much with that. The navbar in itself, so the navbar component, that's just a nav all the way like that. That's not the header though. Sorry, the header component, which... Yeah, I'm just going to move that over there. We won't need the nav component. I'm going to, in here, just open this up. I'm just going to type in header role equals banner. That's just for anyone who... What am I trying to say? That's for accessibility. I think that's pretty much what I want. We don't need too much in here. And then what I need is a div class equals a skeleton card. And then I need div class equals skeleton line. That could probably be like that. And then we just get something like that. We'll have a skeleton header. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that for the moment. So we've got the skeleton structure. I'm happy with all of that. We can get rid of this. We don't need that at all. But what I want to do is, we've got a header down here. I'm just having a look at that. We've got the background color being white. Oh, I should be moving these over into Sass variables and stuff like that. And the reason being is it'll be easier to actually control what the colors are and all that kind of stuff if they're all set to variables and stuff like that. But at the moment, what we're going to do is I'm just going to leave it like that. That is something that I need to come back and fix up. That's part of also moving everything to Welk. All right, so background color, white. We'll have the position as actually sticky. We're going to go top 0. Width is going to be 100 view width, because there's nothing else on this page. Now, I'm wondering why I've got it. The padding. All right, there's not going to be any padding whatsoever with this, because once again, this is going to be very, very quick to load in. We're not even going to have the logo in there. So yeah, we don't need the flex directions or anything like that. That's just up there. We just need the height. The height will be 68 centimeters. Sorry, 68 pixels. That is something we are going to eventually remove all the pixels and go with REMs and so forth like that. I'm not going to worry about that tonight. That's going to be part of, once we get the project done, it's going to be part of us refactoring this section. Yeah, now on small screens, the height actually changes. So if we go down here and go at media, small screen, so everything bigger than a mobile phone, the height will actually change to 45 pixels. Yeah, and this is meant to be 60 pixels. We won't need to show menu. We won't need that. We're all fine with that. All right, cool. So our next thing would be the card skeleton. Skeleton card, sorry. Oh, all right. This also, oh yeah, that centers everything. All right, sweet. Now this is where I'm going to have a look at the cards. Now we don't have cards in NearBeach anymore, and what I need to actually do is reopen up WebStorm, which I closed just before, and we're going to have a look at the CSS properties of those, and port over what we need. We don't need this to look perfect. What we need this to look like is an approximate. So yeah. Where is WebStorm? There you are. We're just going to move you over here. Did we do? Yeah, we did the cards in here. So I can reference the cards from in here. That will be perfectly fine. We did prefab, card. Yeah, this is old. All right, card, border radius. All right, yep, border radius. That's what we want. That's going to be bar, border radius. Background color, background. Yep. All right, cool. Yeah, background light. All right. It's not giving me a size or anything like that. So I'm just going to go max width is going to be 100 pixels. Easy done. Once again, we'll probably put that as REM. And then margin. I'm just going to say auto. But when we're on mobile phone, yeah, all right. Oh, and we've just hit another ad break. All right, welcome back. Hopefully everyone's going well. We are getting there slowly. So once this component is done, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. We will polish, we will then handle the permissions and so forth with that. So one of the permissions that we've got to do is we've got to double check to make sure people have permissions to be on that page. For example, someone could get a project search link, in which case they don't have access to any projects. We don't want them to actually, you know, go to that page. We want to forward them off to a 403. The same thing is if someone, how have that been said? When you're on a specific project and the request goes back, let's say to the, what am I trying to think of? The API, and comes back as a 403, we can then forward people off. But I want to make sure we do it also at the routing level. So if someone lands onto a project and they never have access to projects, we like, nah, sorry, bye fella. So long, good luck. Yeah. All right, we've got about 5 seconds left of the ads. So yeah, there we go. 1 second. Cool, let's get back into it. Where was I? I was over here. We've got the cards, we've got the max width and all that kind of stuff. What I want to set up is I just want to put a breakpoint here. There we go. We're going to go over here. We're just going to hit refresh. So it has hit this. I haven't set the background. That's why. And the skeleton card doesn't have anything in it. So what I might want to do is I want to go background color. I'll hit play first. And this is where we go var and we go background. What's that current background? Right. I'll find out. Oh, alright. Don't know if we got background dark. Alright. He's done. We'll slot that one in very, very quickly. With the card, I want to go with 100%. Once again, we'll max it out up to that. We'll have the margin auto. I'm all happy with that. This is just a representation of the page loading. I'm just going to put a height at 100 pixels for the moment, and I'm going to leave the background light like that. So, we've done all that. I'm going to hit refresh. That's what that looks like at the moment. So we've got the header. Oh, I don't have that in there. I've mucked up things. All right, oops. I'm gonna move that into there. I've got to position absolute. And with the card, I don't like that, but hey, this is what we're gonna figure out. I'm just gonna play, let that run all the way through. We're going to go back into the structure skeleton. We're going to fix all of this up. So, for starters, I'm going to do that. Is done. We're going to go header. Position fix. Top is going to be 0. All of that is perfectly fine. And then the height changes depending on if it's mobile or not. This, I'm just going to change a few things. I'm just going to go 500 pixels. The width is going to be 100%. The margin is going to be, we're going to say 2 rem at the top. We're going to say 0.5 rem at the sides. And I'm going to put this in mobile mode. So we're going to have the iPhone 11. I'm going to hit that breakpoint and we're going to hit refresh. So we've got that. That is okay. I don't mind that. Oh god. Oh god. All right. That's fine. What I'm also going to do is I'm just going to hit play, just get that through. I've realized that, yeah, it's comes up really far up to the top. I'm gonna get rid of those. You'll see why in a second. As you can see, I've done that, but that header is position locked. What I've got to do is I think 5 rem would be good for that. Alright, so that's at the top. We're all happy with that, and then we go 5 rem, cool. That bumps it down to there. Now I just need to get these div components to show something in them. So the idea is the width will be 100%. I'm just gonna go padding. And then background color, I'm gonna go hot pink. And then I'm just gonna go margin. Nah, we don't want margin there. So, and as you can see, it bumps off the screen. There's a reason why it bumps off the screen. It's because of the padding, but we're gonna fix this up in a second. This will be the header. I'm gonna go 0 for both sides. There you go. So that's done that. But if I do that and then add in margin auto, and then I add in 0.5 rem for, hang on, 1 rem for the top. I like that. It's simple, it's easy. And then I can bump down bump that down. I like that. I'm just going to copy that. So that will be the skeleton header. So down here, what we want to do, we want to put that there. We want to go .skeleton header like that, and then we want to paste that in. We want to do this. I want to get rid of hot pink. I want to have a text red there, which will give us something different. I also need to just hit play a bunch of times. We're just going to go back over to here. I'm just going to hit refresh. Perfect. And then I'll have a lighter colors doing 100% across down there. And I don't know if I want to put something up here. I also probably want to do a transition. The idea with the transition is it's meant to sort of illuminate that something's actually happening. It'll go slightly redder or darker or something like that. We'll figure that out when we get to it. I just want to get the layout done first. All right, so we've done that. Let's get the other ones in. So these will be the skeleton lines. This is actually going to be calculated. I don't need to calculate on this. We can squeeze out every single byte there. With the width here, it's going to be 100% minus 2 rem. Then the padding is going to be 1 rem and 0. The background color is going to be... this is where I need to... look up my colors. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. Under styles, we have general variables. I might go text muted. And then we just want a margin of 1 rem. Let's see what that looks like. Boom. All right, so straight away, I am actually going to bring down the padding of these ones. So I'm going to go 0.5. That looks actually really good. The other thing that I want to do is, now I can't do it for all of them. As you can see, we just want to do it with the first one. So if I go back into here, this is going to be margin top is actually going to be 5 rem. Easy done. Once again, the padding for this will go 0.5 rem. We're all happy with that. I'm just going to hit play a bunch of times. We're just going to hit refresh. Now the first child itself, I haven't done that correctly. No, it's the first. No, it's not first child that I want. It's the first object. Not a problem. I'll just do extra margin, and then what I'll do, I'm going to hit play all the way through. We go through here. We just hit refresh. Didn't do it. Extra margin. or 5 REM is a little too much. The 3 REM looks perfect. Getting back into here. It might actually have to be like this. Yeah, I think I just screwed up there. Easy done. We just bump like that, and we go back over here. We just hit refresh. There we go. Now, view transitions. Let's go into transitions. I think they've got a couple of examples in here. Where we don't want something like that. Or do we want that? We just want something that goes on forever. And this is where I go back to this code because I have a transition in here for the nav bar. On leave, on enter. All right, no, that's not what we wanted. Nav bar skeleton. I want to go to that declaration. Oh. All right. Yeah, something subtle like that. I just do CSS on it. Okay. Whoop. Let's get this sorted then. So, this will be animation. We go down here. Let's do it on the header first. Oh. Sorry, I keep forgetting I can't yank from here and paste it over there. I gotta learn more of the view things and stuff like that. So skeleton loading. Just going to put the keyframes down at the bottom because I always do. So skeleton loading, the background color. This is where we'll probably create something different in here. So we'll go loading. Red 1, and that's going to be HLS 600, and then we'll go once again 893%, and then 43%. And then with this, we want it to get darker. Yeah, I think that's a good color. We also want to do not just a red one, but a dark. So this one will be 16, 100%, and 4%. And again, I should just done that the quick way. But this one will actually get lighter. Like so. All right. Now, going over here, this is where we're going to use variable. This is where we're going to go loading red 1. And then loading red 2. Now that will be the skeleton loading header. Alright, cool. With this one, it won't be the header, it'll be the body. And essentially, it'll be dark. I don't think that likes that. All right. Note the RGB notation is an alias for RGB. Yeah. All right. No. I spot it. I can't read. All right. Easy done. Problem solved. So the skeleton loading, and that will be for the header. And then we'll go over here, and that will be for, I should change that to line, yeah. Key it in as line. Now, I don't know how well this will work. We'll just refresh all of those. We'll go back down here, we'll hit this, boom. All right, cool. I like that. It's simple, it's easy. That's all we really need. If we have a look at the network itself and type in skeleton, not much has passed through. Which is what I like. Now, the one problem is we've got to check the other different formats. So, all right, that's okay. That will be fine. Laptop. I'm going to zoom out to about 100%. Yeah, laptop's fine. Let's get rid of this. This is where it gets a bit ridiculous. We'll put a max width. In fact, we'll do it in here first. So put a max width of 1200 pixels, and at that particular point, that's where we go margin. Top will be the 5 rem, and then auto. Yeah. So, on the card, we've got all of those done. At media, there'll be, yeah, double line, screen. This is where I've got to look it up. No, I want a face mask. Screw it. I've got the media variables right here. Extra large screen. All right, cool. Oops, sorry, I've been doing a lot of CSS today. What we're going to do is max width is going to be pixels, and then margin is going to be 5 rem for the top, and then auto, and that's it. I'm just going to hit play a bunch of times. We're just going to hit refresh. There it is there. That sure looks a bit ugly, but we've got something in place now, and I can fix it up later. I can have a look at other things and heavily improve it. We don't expect this to be on the screen for very long. And then we just hit play. I'm going to get rid of that breakpoint. Piss it off. There we go. And then it pops into here. So if we hit refresh, notice how it just, boom, pops in for a second and just disappears. That's what we want. I'm going to shut the curtains soon. It is 8 o'clock. Alright. Seeing what happens when we... Yeah. Now, I might make that a lot more subtle also, because those colors are really on the nose. But the best news is, I brought it out. I got these as general sort of things. We can, in here, just go, let's say 100% is all of that, but if we go 90%, that's subtle. And then we can bring that, I would say that down to 85, maybe 75. Yeah, I think that will work. Let's say 80. Let's keep those dark. Actually, no, we kind of want them light. Yeah, something like that. And then if we refresh, yeah, it takes a very short amount of time. I'm going to throttle. I'm going to do good 3G. This one's going to take a while because it needs the initial packages, which I think is going to be 2 megabytes. There we go. Popped in very, very quickly. But I would also like to say that one took very little time. Yeah, all right. And then, yeah, I need to come back and actually do all the design properly. Which means I'm going to have to look up designs around what other people have done. Once again, not a problem. I've just got to do this. So, yeah. Anyway. I'm happy. Let's go into here and go route, view route. Check permissions. Or 403 routes. Use. Alright. Component test page. I'm using this to limit the route based on if logged in. Return alert. Otherwise, now. Alright, the way I use navigation guards is with before enter. Some documentation on before enter can be found here. Alright, cool, that's kind of what we want. I have pointed to an example below. If the condition will check if the user has a name, you could generate. Alright, cool, yep. So, that's actually on before enter. Okay. Take you to something else. Name home. All right. So we want navigation guards. So router before each. do. All right, I'm just going to close everything here. We're going to minimize this. I'm going to open up that. Oh, we're on an ad break. All right, cool. Whilst we're on an ad break, I'm going to shut the curtains. Yes, up. And I'm going to raise the desk. I've been sitting all day. This is taking a little while. There we go. All right, cool. We've got about 45 seconds left for the ads. Yeah. For those on YouTube wondering what's actually happening, we run ads every half an hour on Twitch. That's just to stop the pre-rolled ads because the pre-rolled ads suck. And tend to do this. So, yeah. All right, we've got about 20 seconds left. I also know I got a bunch of notifications. Just July. Don't know the exact date yet. Alright, and welcome back. Sorry, I was just getting a bunch of messages. I just need to handle them very, very quickly. I'm gonna just minimize that screen. Alright, cool. What I want to do, close all that. We want to open up that. We are dealing with the route stuff, so that's under the source router. And then login router. Now, sorry, not login router. Sorry, there is a login router that handles the routing for the login pages. We've separated them out purposely, just to stop any confusion and stuff like that, and make sure that the user's only getting just what they need. All right. So with this, we've got a bunch of paths and stuff like that. And then the fallback page. If I go into navigation guides, we've got the router before each. We've got the create router, and then we've got the routes. I was just setting up everything. Oh, we haven't set it up like that. All right. Explicitly return false to cancel the navigation. Ooh. All right. So. This is where I think I'm going to do it here. So router.before each. I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to go console log to. We're going to see what actually happens. Apparently nothing. Oh, I'm throttled. That's why. All right, so we got a 2, and there we go. We got the project and stuff like that, and we've got a bunch of stuff there. Now, what I want, and I need the meta destination. Okay, meta destination. Now I'm having a quick think. If a person has access to doing at least read only for the projects, at least one project, we still want them to go to the search. That will come through with permissions, and then what will actually happen is the user will be like, cool, I want to go to project 2, which they don't have access to. It'll still load in the project information page. It will then request that data to the backend, and the backend will send a 403. We then handle that 403 at that sort of case, in which case we just manipulate the router and just send them straight to the 403. Yeah, I like that. So I do want to handle it with the 2. I don't think I need the next or anything like that. So yeah, if we click on project, notice how we go project. Now, why is nothing on the page loading? All right, that's fine. We will get around to fixing that one up. So we've got explicitly return false to cancel the navigation, which is not what we want to do. We want to, if is authenticated before each. Yep, we need async before each. I don't need the from or the next. We're just handling the 2. Yep, all right, cool. Now, this doesn't know about the login page at all. Once again, we've purposely separated those out. Just so that the login page is really, really tiny. I actually don't know how tiny it is. At 1.52, and that's including images and fonts and uncompressed stuff. So yeah, the client will be a lot smaller than that on here. So the client, oh yeah, this doesn't have the client. Yeah, that's all right, cool. So I'm just thinking out aloud. So before each, yada yada, if to doesn't equal login and is authenticated, next name is login. All right, else next. All right, cool. So what I want to do is I want to create a function which will contact the backend to be like, hey, I'm after this particular object. Does this user have permission to it? Let's have a look at the permissions first. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to write in next. I've just realized that I don't have next in here anymore. I don't need from. Yeah, I just need to do that. All right, cool. Permission, let's make sure this is now, yep, this is back working. All right, permissions. So let's go into the stores, let's go into permissions, let's open up this. We actually have functionality in here where we can go, can you check this? Can you send us back something? In this sort of case, yeah, we want to do that. So I'm going to go checked object permission. We need the state. And what we're going to send back is, for the moment, is a true. In here, I'll do a little bit of logic to go, does this person have that permission for this particular thing? We've got to check to see if that key exists up here, in here. It'll be the maximum permissions. We've got to check to see if that key exists in the maximum permissions. If it doesn't, we send back true anyway, because they might land on, let's say, dashboard or search or something like that, where we don't have an object that needs permission. All right, and then that way we just need to make sure that that equals more than that. All right, cool. I'm gonna do a little bit of a test. I'm actually gonna open up a new tab, sorry. I'm gonna open up this, I'm gonna open up the console. We're going to go var a equals, and we're gonna have an object. So let's say project task. All right, and if we go a, let's say var b equals project, like that, and then we should be able to go something like that and get that, and that will work perfectly fine. But if we go b, let's make it task now, and then yeah, that's working fine. Hello. And that becomes our undefined. Which is fine. This will work for us. Because what we can do is we can do that. We can go, boom. All right. But we can also, cool, that will work. What we need to do, because this is flat packed out for us. This is actually calculated when they get the data in and stuff like that. So it's going to be very, very quick for this to come back. We want to get, this is going to be const max permission is going to be the state dot maximum permissions, and then we are actually passing through a value. Ew. All right, so what I want to check is, so we've got getters, we're passing through a state, and then we do that. I just want to know if it needs to be getters or if it's an action where we can get something from there. Like I pass through a variable. Accessing other getters. Yeah, no, that's not what I want. Passing arguments into getters. That's what I want. So getters, state, yada yada. All right, I'm going to copy this. We just got it there for reference. So what we want is we want to pass through the object like that. And I pass it through like that. This doesn't look too good. Oh, sorry. Oh, big yawn happening. Yeah, I think that also has to be wrapped now. And then we've got the object ID, which will be a string. And then we promise a boolean. We also promise a boolean. Actually, no, that's void. It's that. That means the boolean. Oh yeah, this is gonna be element explicitly has an any. All right. I don't want to write a switch case. But what I could do is write a switch case, depend what the object is, find the object and go, yay. Not what I want to do. This is throwing up a problem. I'm just going to delete all that for the moment. I want to get a couple of things sorted first. So if I go const max permissions equal state dot maximum permissions, and then I pass through a string called project. That is going to be fine. That won't have an issue. However, if I go const object equals, let's say project, that will be fine. But if I go like that, it's going to throw up an issue. You know, if I say this is a number or undefined, this will still have a problem. Which means I've got to check to see if the key exists. So JavaScript check object contains key. Key in. Alright, cool. So if I go if object in state dot maximum permission, I've got to do this around and then I'm just going to do that, and then I'm just going to go return true. Default. That could work. Then as a number equals state dot maximum permissions and then object. And then what I could do is return max permission greater than 0. And that will be a boolean. Type unknown is not assignable to type number, but we know what that type is because we're doing a check right here. Yeah. And then what we want, max permission equals undefined, or no, it'll never be undefined. Null. If max permission, that's where we go, is, I think it's math dot is number. Oops, wrong thing. I was meant to do 3 equals here. There we go. This is where we've got to pass it as an int. We know what it is. We know what it is. Oh my god. The joys of TypeScript sometimes. All right, hang on. I might be overly complicating this. So this is a number or unknown. Ugh. If type of max permission equals unknown. Fuck off. Excuse my French. Alright, I think I know how I'm going to have to tackle this, and then this will then be return max permission is greater than 0, and we then return default. We just do that. Now, in reality, we should never really hit that return true, because actually, no, we will. If we pass through an object that it doesn't need permissions, we'll be like, object should say, all right, cool, it doesn't. It will move on. With the const permissions and stuff like that, I'm just wondering if unknown will work, and then if we pick a number, we then choose that. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put it in console log. Got number permission. All right. Now I need to feed through an object, so I'm going to feed through an object that's going to be a string. We're just going to do that. We're just going to paste it at the end. I think I just do that, but yeah, that's not. This is throwing up an issue. We can get rid of that. Type string, and then that. Because expression of type string can't be used to index type. All right. You know what? I'm just gonna copy that. Let's just Google it. Let's just go right. We did this the other day. For everyone who summons then simply express. All right, cool. Object type, field equals username. Solution 1, when the type of the object is known. Yes, we do know that. All right. All right, we're just going to paste that in as that. Now this with the interface, won't it? So that no longer has a problem. And now I'm just wondering if that's just going to be a number. All right, I'm just going to delete all this. That's fine. We're going to have a look in the documentation again. Oh, they've got the return. That's probably what I'm missing. That's probably it. All right. Let's do this again. Let's go const. Let's go max permission equals state dot maximum permissions where object as type of just wait, and I'm double checking this one. As key of. As key of, not type of. Now. One other thing that I do want to check is if object as key of state and then we do that. We then return true with lots of U's in it. And then here we return maximum permission greater than 0. Default. All right. I think that's it. We got there. We got there. Oh, ad break. Sorry about that. All right. So yeah, we got an ad break. Sorry, I just wanted to really get that out. The joys of TypeScript, you just got to do all this sort of checking, and I rather get all of these checks done. So yeah, it does mean a lot of frustration at times. So yeah. All right, we are getting there. What's the time? It is. All right, I might finish it. I don't know when I'll finish tonight. We'll see how we go. So yeah. All right, welcome back, everyone. I do need to actually eat dinner. That's the problem. There we go. Check object permissions. We've got all this. We're all happy with that. I'm just going to put a console log in here. Got here at this time. Easy done. I'm happy with how that is laid out. Then in the router, what we want to do is we want to access it. So I think up here, this is where we've got to import this stuff. So we're going to import the use permission store from there. I'll just format that down there. And then permission store, that's just going to be a const permission. How do I do this? Not use that. Use permission store. Permission store equals. All right, cool. Yeah, that's pretty easy. Const permission store equals use permission store. All right, cool. We then bump down to here into here, and what I want to do is if it's going to be await permission store dot get this is where get maximum permissions and all that kind of stuff. We're doing the check already. We're just sending back whether or not they're permitted. So I'm going to change that to is authenticated or is allowed or is authenticated. No, authentication means that they're logged in. Has permissions. Has permission, yeah. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So this has to now go at the end of all of this. We'll just format that up to there. That's fine. I'll get rid of that one line. All right. So has permission, and this is where we want to send through the to dot meta dot destination. Now, if they don't have permissions, we then do something like that. At the moment, I'm just going to go next just to get this to work. What we want to gonna send back a boolean. Now that is not guaranteed. All right. This is where we find out what to do. So I'm just going to go next in here. We are going to go console log, and then we're just going to put in the 2. We're going to run over here. We're just going to delete all of this. We're just going to refresh. Cool, but there's no active pinner. Oh, we might need to put the route a little bit later in the whole setting up of everything. So that will actually happen in the main.ts. So in here, notice how we got pinner down at the bottom. What we want to do is now put it up at the top. This brings us this. Damn. All right. Okay. Yeah, I've got that back to working. But this brings up a problem. We kind of need to get the store sorted before this is loaded in. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just having a think. All right, give me a view router use store. Yeah. Use store outside of component pinner. Pinner store relies on pinner instance to share the same store across all cores. Most of the time this works out of the box by calling your use store function, for example setup. If you don't need to do anything else, but things are a bit different outside of components. Behind the scenes, use store injects pinner instance. You gave your app. All right, cool. This means that if pinner instance cannot be automatically injected, you have to manually provide the use store functionality. You can solve this differently depending on the kind of application you're writing. All right, cool. Single page applications. If you're not doing server-side rendering, any call of use store after installing the Pinner plugin, app use.pinner will work. All right, cool. Fails because it's called before the pinner is created. Create pinner. Use pinner. All right, cool. So it just means I've got to do some changes in here. So create pinner. I'm just going to copy this. It's just down there for fun. All right, so that fails there. So pinner, create pinner, app, yep, we've got that, yep. And then app use pinner. Which needs to be, actually no, it can be before that. Like that, so app use pinner. Then we do that. And then we do all of that. Yep. All right. That way, hopefully that works. And then the router, what we can do is const permission store equals use permission store, which this is always applied to defer calls of your store by placing them inside functions that will always run after Pinia is installed. All right. Depending on the order of imports, this will fail. All right, yep. This will work because the router starts its navigation after the router is installed and Pinia. All right, cool. Yep, this is where we read the documentation. We get rid of all of those. We go all the way down here, and then we're like, all right, cool. Before each, and then we go const, and then we go permission store equals use permission store. Set up store. And if we go back to the NearBeach application, it is running perfectly fine. From here, we've got the two. So we'll have a project, we'll have a meta, and we'll have a destination. So what we want to do is we'll have a const destination that will equal either a string or undefined, which is fine. So if we've got to make it equal, this will be a to.meta.destination. So we're happy with that. And then if destination equals undefined, it doesn't matter if it's undefined or not. This is where we can do the other check. So if this is permission store dot fetch has permission, oh, this is where we're not passing through undefined. All right, not a problem. I just do an if statement here. Destination equals undefined. We'll go return. We'll go next. That's it. And then this will be an else if, because we've handled the unknown. Now, why is this throwing up an error? Now I gotta do. I'm just moving on for the moment. And the Bob, I know, how are you? It has started to get a little bit colder here now. I do miss the warm weather already. We had a very short summer. Can't spell. Melbourne weather. Alright, cool. Yeah, so it'll be low to mid 20s this week, which will be nice. So I'm not complaining. It finally rained, which is nice. I dropped my ball. Yeah, no, it's been good. How have you been? How's the weather near you? I know what that's going to be like. Oh. So if I go store global path, and let's say I go temp0.meta.destination, we know it's going to be either a string or undefined. Hot as usual, Malaysia. Hot and rainy. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Oops. Oh, I hate that. There you go. Just use field to take a look at. All right. What the hell's happening there? Yeah, I think that has nothing to do with what I need. That's probably something completely and utterly different. So let unknown value unknown. All right, let string undefined. All right, I'm just going to copy that. Type assertion. If you're certain the value is the correct type and TypeScript's control flow analysis can't determine it, you can type a type assertion as keyword, which is what I'm probably going to have to do. Yeah, all right. Cool. That's it. That's what I'm going to have to do from now on. All right. So if has permission, we're going to go next, and then if it fails, we're going to have to redirect. So that's where we're going to go to the navigation, and that's where we're going to go. Yeah, the name and all that kind of stuff. So we've got that, we've got project, Kanban board, requirement, I'm just going to put down here, errors. I'm just going to put in path is 403, or forbidden. I'm going to use forbidden. We're going to have meta, destination, forbidden. I'm not going to have any children. We are going to have a name. Then I'm going to have another one. Oh, I need a component. Yeah, I need the children. No, I don't need children, sorry. I need component. And what I'm going to do, dashboard page for the moment. Yeah, we'll figure it out later. So path, not found. Name, not found. Meta, destination not found. I've got to format that, and then component is dashboard page for the moment. We will figure this out later. All right, so, we have not found page. Cool. Done. So with this, we want the next to actually be the name. And if we go up here, forbidden. Easy done. And I think that might be it. Oh, unexpected error, infinite redirect in navigation guard. All right. Yeah, that's where we need. We need something like that. And then we come here. Yeah, I'm just going to go to view. I'm going to go to Pinia. I'm going to go to permissions. We can't get the has permission function yet, but we can open up this. Maximum permissions. Oh, all right. Oh, current object. Oh, no. I've done this wrong. Yeah, I've done that wrong. All right, so I have broken stuff. Stuff is broken. Cool, let's go fix it. We want to go into the permissions. What's actually happening is we're getting the data. I actually don't process the data. I just shove it in there. That is not what we're meant to do. We're meant to set the minimum permissions. So we go to the sets the minimum permissions. We get the minimum permissions like this. That should do something like that. But instead it's giving us an object. So what I want to do, so I'm going to go const final product equals this. I'm going to go console log. We're going to go final product like that. I'm also going to go console log. And we're going to go field is going to be the field. Easy done. We're all happy with that. And then we return the final product. I'm going to bump over here. We're going to go into the console. We're going to delete everything. We're going to just refresh everything. All right. So the Kanban board final product. Yeah, it's not giving what I want. Yeah. All right. Looks like the reduce functionality. I've mucked up the reduce functionality. There we go. That's what I've done wrong. And there we go. And if I go to project now, ooh, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. It hasn't finished mounting before the router has taken over. So the instant someone goes with a link here, it will automatically go to forbidden, even though if I click on project, it'll go to project. But if I refresh the page, it'll take that user away to forbidden. And that's because when we're checking the data, we haven't got the data yet. Yeah, all right. View router, wait until data has loaded. Mention a similar problem. No, view router, not component. Yeah, all right. Yeah, but it's not at that. It's also another problem. It's not at that level. All right. Because we do this at somewhere else. Linear, wait for store, wait for store to update. All right, cool. Initialize with variables as an IFS. Solve this by using a watch to check if it was loaded for the first time and watch effect. All right, cool. All right, yep, try, yep. All right, view router, wait till linear has initial data, or initial fetch data. All right, to wait for Pinia to fetch initial data before the route renders, you should use view router's navigation guard successfully before entering before each guard and await the. All right, cool. Route, create route, yep, create, yep. Before enter. And that also might be a solution. I might put the call on the router instead. But, there's a reason why I put it where it is, and that's because we want to actually add in the skeletons and the suspense state and stuff like that. I don't want to do it like this. Yeah. Oh, and we're on another ad break. It's going to be the last ad break for tonight. I've got to finish up soon. I haven't eaten today and got a little bit more work to do later on. So I should keep dropping things. I'd rather have a little break before I've got to do a deployment tonight. So yeah, we are getting quite far, which is nice. Just got to think how I want to handle this. Another thing which I could potentially do is I can move this into the route component section. I can do the calls and all that kind of stuff in the route section, and then have a loaded state and put that elsewhere. So I could put that as an if statement instead of a suspense. That would work well. That would work really well. I don't think that will be a problem. That way also I get rid of the suspense, and that way if they change the suspense it's not going to break that functionality. Oh, sorry, I've just breathed something in. And welcome back everyone. So a potential solution would be to move the initial data call into the router. That way it'll always call it initially, and on the app stuff I will just have a VF statement to show the skeleton, which could work perfectly fine. Excuse me 1 second, I just need to grab this thing. I don't mind that. I think it'll work. And then we solve this router problem. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do that. Because yeah, it's failing at the moment, which makes sense. Because it's getting there, the router's completing before it's fetching the data. And that's not what we want. So, let's start ripping out some stuff we've done tonight, but that's fine. Let's go into Pages, App. Let's go into App Store. Let's remove the suspense. We'll have it as simple as that. And then, and hey Sherry, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. How have things been? Alright, so I figured I'm going to leave these two on here for the moment. I've got to figure out how to do the map getters. Pinia map getters, or the equivalent of map getters for Pinia. So they're no longer used, judging by that lovely cross out there. Alright, not a problem. Yeah, I can't complain. I will be finishing stream up in pretty soon because I've got to have a break before I go back to work. I've got a deployment tonight, so yeah. All right, I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna have the getters. Oh, so it's just simple as that. All right, not a problem. This is going to be even simpler. What we need to do is we need to import the use permission store, and then we've got to use the store down there. So that will be const permission store equals use permission store, and then in here what we've got is if permission store dot is loaded. And we'll create an is loaded in a minute. Like so. So I'm going to go to the permissions. I'm going to go all the way up. We've got all this. And we're going to go is loaded. And that's going to be false by default. False straight away. If we go back over here and we hit refresh, we just get the basic loading screen thing, which is great news for us. Then what I want to actually do is I want to move the fetch permissions out from the structure. So if we open up structure, we've got the app structure. I'm now getting rid of it from in here. So we're just going to delete it. We no longer need that store. That's all perfectly fine. That now means that I'm not fetching any permission data whatsoever. So if we go back over here, I'm just going to, whoops, click the wrong buttons. I was meant to click the delete. We go all that and we type in user. We don't have any user call, the API call for the users. So we now need to implement that permission in there. So from the app structure, we then want to go into the router. Now, this is where it gave me the idea. And it's just a simple if statement and await and all that kind of fun stuff. So before each async, what we want to do is we want to use the permissions. I'm just moving those down like that. So actually we can define that. Check user permissions has been loaded, otherwise wait, otherwise load. So if the permission store dot is loaded is false, so we're going to do something like that, and then we're going to go await permission store dot fetch permission data. That's our little secret there, and then what we need to do is validate the permissions. So I'm having a quick think about this. Alright, so that should be simple now. We are fetching the user permissions. And Hungry Hippo, how are you going? Hopefully you're going well. After the permissions have been fetched, what we've got to do is I've got to set the store. So that's going to be this dot is loaded equals true. So what we want to do is update the permission data, process the permission data, and then at the very end, last step, tell the system it has loaded. All right, cool. Doing well, that's good to hear. Early in the morning here and trying to find motivation today. Fair enough. I can understand that. And boom. All right, cool. So, even though we tried the suspense stuff, we did run into a problem later down the track that, hey, we actually need to get the router to load in the permissions. that is fine. So if we now go and let's say go to project, boom, it now stays at project because the router double checks those permissions. And if we do add in a breakpoint on, let's say, the API itself, so we want to go into the API and artificially make this take longer. I'm just going to put a breakpoint there. I'm just going to hit refresh. You can see it does what the suspense was doing a bit earlier, where it's just hanging here. Yep. And then if I get rid of that breakpoint and hit play, boom. All right. And then everything pops in and loads in perfectly fine. All of our permissions are fine. I think that's going to be the process. It took us we took the long way to get there. I don't know why I didn't try. I think in my head I was stuck that I had to do the suspense, but hey, sometimes I'm wrong. All right. Cool. I'm just having to think, what else do I need to do tonight? I know the forbidden stuff is going to work-ish because it was, you know, working when we had that bug in place. Yeah, all right. I'm just trying to think the next steps for us to do. The next steps would be for us to actually implement the create on here, followed by the read, and getting these to actually take us to project 2. I don't know why that's not working. I'm just going to refresh the page. I just realized I've got a bunch of console logs in there. All right, yep. It's failed to resolve that because that's now in Welk. I've actually got to bring in Welk. We've also got to make sure the card component works and stuff like that. So, oh wait, I've already brought in Welk. What am I doing? I can fix this very, very quickly. Look at this. Import card component, card header from Welk. And I have to actually upgrade it to the latest version of Welk. That will be down here. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. I've done 11. All right. Where's my... There it is. I'm just going to go npm install. Oh, npm audit. All right. Fix. npm run dev. Oh, yeah, that's easy. That's just me doing something wrong. Oh, where's that? How did that get in there? I am just going to refresh. Cool, I've got to get rid of the console logs. Everything's working there. If I click on there, perfect. All right. You can see this looks really, really horrible and not like any NearBeach stuff. That's because I've got to go through and implement everything on Welk. The idea being is we'll then pass Welk through onto here. It will It's a shell component library. The idea being is we want to use these components on another project once we got 0.32 out. So yeah. So the next task I've got to do is I've got to implement the ability to create a new project, and from there I've got to do this. This is going to take a while too. Once we do those, it's then a bit of polish with that vertical slice. We've got to get everything sort of set up how we want it to behave, so that way when we start implementing this everywhere else, we've got a pattern to follow, and following those patterns just speed up the development a lot. So for example, getting out tasks is going to be a lot simpler because it'll be pretty much exactly the same as project, just swapped for task information and so forth like that. Maybe a lot of these components will be then looked at as generics. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Anyway, I've should be yeah, I should go. The reason being is I've got a little bit of work later. So yeah, let's go raid Theo, be Theo, not the YouTube Theo, this guy. So whoops, wrong thing. I'll put that on that. I'll go down here. I'll do that so everyone can see him. But yeah, thank you very much everyone for being here tonight. It has been wonderful. We got a lot done. I'm gonna commit these changes. I'm then gonna start fleshing this out a little bit more with tests and so forth like that. But yeah, anyway, let's raid on through. Thank you very much. And for those on YouTube, thank you very much for being here. Sadly, you won't be able to follow us with the raid, but don't forget to like and subscribe. It does actually help the channel, and yeah.